We worship success, not the description, but it's an actuality. We all worship it. And so when we come across something like meditation, we try to achieve it. We try to succeed. Am I feeling any different? Is that insight coming? All is happening between these ears. Thought isn't something out there. It's material in the organism. And somehow this Asian guy has it all figured out. No. It's just the title, hopefully, but that doesn't have to be what we explore. We're just gonna have JR Alternative Hampton Court cigars and kind of explore that topic together. What was kind of clear to me is like I can kind of reflect on the young boy, right? The kid, when I was a kid. And I can think of the fact that although I may have not had a phone till I came to the States when I was 9, there's still the fact that I was worshiping heroes. I wanted to be a hero. Watched Spider-Mans and started climbing the walls. Saw a hero riding his motorcycle and doing all the cool stuff and thinking, man, it would be nice to be a hero. But now that same action is taking place, except kids are worshiping streamers, YouTubers, things that are out there. And even though some have it worse, they may not have a father figure, they may not have a mother figure. Regardless, we're not just the lost generation, but we are the neglected generation. It's not the parents' fault, but they're so caught up in their own self, the thoughts, that you neglect the kid. And so, Gen Z, millennials, we're just internet kids, you know? And let's explore that. JR Hampton, this is what they look like. Get up close. Look on him. This is the band. Nothing fancy. It does look like it's been capped off twice. As you can see, the first one and the second one. So when I cut it, I try to get it like right around here. I hate to be that guy, but it straight up smells like leather, you know? Tibetan medicine balls. It's herbal, but not flory, like floral essence kind of thing. It's more like distinct, sharp leather. Almost like burnt cinnamon. That's what it kind of, I don't know what that actually smells like, but it's kind of what I'm picking up on. So, got a little bit of water with me. I've already had some caffeine. So, don't want to be too jittery. Let's light this up. First, we'll get the cut. And I'll try not to butcher this. Somewhere around here should be good. And I barely apply pressure here, honestly. Because I'm not trying to force it through, you know? And boom. Boom. See? And then the top just kind of falls off like that. And then I'll try to be super clean with it. There you go. Pretty clean cut. And that's how it kind of looks like. Some people have that hole puncher. Some people have the thingy. I just use a knife because I'm super cool. Let's get a final smell before we get all philosophical. Clear skies, great day, Friday. Let's light it up. Oof, quite windy. Jeez. I don't even know where it's coming from. There you go. And yeah, today's title is just that, a title. We don't have to stick to it. But it's all gonna be sort of under the umbrella of meditation. I used to think meditation was something for monks only, something that people out there do, and that surely who am I to meditate? And then you have these ideas like, oh, once you meditate, you get to this place, which is the limitation of thought, constantly thinking it's going to arrive somewhere. There we go. Getting some good char on it. What a sharp taste. It's distinctly sharp today. I don't know why. Extremely bitter today. Damn, I'm picking up on a lot of flavors today. But yeah, the worship of success. It's like we have examples and people that work their whole life to something. Fighters, people who are chasing the next title, the next promotion. And yet they're left with this feeling like, I don't feel any different. And that should be a clue that there's something confused. And first you have to see that thoughts aren't out there, right? Speaking personally, when you're creating or when you're pondering, you might think, oh, I just got an idea from out there. It's actually the reaction of memory stored up, kind of like folders, looks back through it, and it says, oh, what about this? What about this possibility? So it is always fragmented. And then there's this feeling of this person looking through the folder, which feels like the me. Whatever your name is, there's thousands, millions of people with the same name. Yet somehow it feels exclusive to you. And that's my name. That's my birthright. That's my... Of course you gotta have a driver license. Of course you gotta have a passport. You gotta have some level of compartment, some level of organization. But at a psychological level, when that person feels like it's going through folders, through memories, it is constantly creating this sense of separation, which breeds all the suffering. Again, I have it all figured out clearly, because I'm smoking a cigar, and I'm super cool. There's 5 eagles flying really high, 6, really high in the sky. 7, 6, 7. Straight up, there's like 7 eagles over there. So first, 8 billion souls. The number I can't even get in my head. And if you look at the world at large, it looks like humanity is just a virus taking over this thing. And it's so much that there's nothing you can do. So as far as I'm concerned, it's not specific to Gen Z, but a young person, the most important thing you can do is to do this is the art of listening, the art of meditating. Not waking up and creating a routine that thought does. Says, once I've done these checklists, I'm all right with myself. And if I don't do it, there's punishment. So reward and punishment, escaping pain and into pleasure, things that feel good. And then you say, okay, I'm aligned and I feel good about myself. But there comes a point where naturally things come up. Problems, things that need to get solved. And then psychologically you think about it, ruminate and all of it. And that process carries on for so long that you feel like you're stuck. And so there's a funny story that I heard. And that story is about this guru. And he had a student. And he spent 10 years of his life with this guru, learning everything. And he said, I haven't got the sense of it. It's not clicking. I don't get it. I don't feel what you're saying. I understand it intellectually, and I can logically follow, but there comes a point where I just don't get it. And so he left. And he left and he went on his journey, on his pilgrimage, and found a different master, a mentor. And then he stays with him and he says, after 10 years, I figured it out. And he goes back to the original master and says, you know what? I figured it out. And he looked at him and he said, look across that river. I can walk on this river and get to the other side of the bank. And then the guru says, don't you know that there's a boat you can pay $5 and it'll take you there? He spent 10 years of his life trying to figure out, use his thoughts, get to some place, when the answer was just that. And I think the biggest misconfusion we have is that intelligence is this storing of memory. That if you know a lot, you must be smart. I don't know the root meaning of intelligence, but I think intelligence isn't there when you're constantly thinking, because thought is the past. Thinking, memory, is your experience and storing it up in your mind, but it's not the reality. In the same way, on the surface, there may be waves, there may be thoughts, but the consciousness might be the whole. In the same way, the brain itself can think. It's one of its tools, faculties. But is that all it's meant to do? And if you do that long enough, you get to these ideas like simulation theory, all these theories, and I just think it's so wrong. And is that presumptuous of me to say that? Someone who hasn't studied, someone who hasn't gone to college. I mentally checked out in middle school, but just after high school I dropped out. And there are people way more smarter than me, people with titles, people with papers. They say that for sure the probability is less than blah 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 that we are in a simulation. And I just think it's so wrong. It's so wrong. And so the difficulty is to put things out there, right? When in your life, there's suffering. When in your life, there's all the baggage of deep sorrow. You know, I may be using the words, but when you're really going through it, you realize there is nothing that is truth to me. All been just ideas. And so yeah, what is that? And is there freedom from that? Freedom which is not dependent on thought, feeling like it's gonna get there if I just do this properly. Oh, I'm not doing it right. Oh, I don't deserve it. Oh, am I following the right path? Constant reward and punishment. Oh, we have a cigar. So having that general word salad out there, let's just get to the individual. You're a Gen Z. You're looking at this world, this society that gave you a false sense of togetherness. And you see the bullshit in it, and you say, fuck it, I'm just gonna be with my disco friends. I'm just gonna be with my friends, and we're gonna smoke, and we're gonna drink, we're gonna party, and that's what we're gonna do. Or you see how dangerous it's getting. For the average Joe, for the average Gen Z, the so-called American dream is such a luxury that the thing that was the ideal, the norm, to have a house, go to college, get a degree, nice paying job, pays for everything, and you live happily ever after. And you realize it's bullshit. I'm gonna hash this out. So what are you to do? And intelligence, not memory. If you're in the right environment, it'll take care of itself. And you may not need something like SPX 6900. You may not need something like Bitcoin. Because you're in the right place at the right time. But for the average Joe, SPX 6900 is the right place at the right time. Because there's never been a time where the only option seems like the most stupidest option. A meme coin? Wait, let me get this straight. So you want me to buy your bags and somehow it's like a pyramid scheme because people are gonna sell on top of me, and then that's your solution? That may be the cynical view. This is why you often have to look deeper into things to really listen. Because you can listen to someone like J. Krishnamurti, someone like David Bohm, someone like Alan Anderson, who is a great teacher, has all these biblical scriptures in his head, and he doesn't just take the phrase and say, okay, this is what we're doing. He really listens to it, and he has a great understanding of it. But on the surface, you might be underwhelmed, like, all right, some Indian guy talking about meditation, and that's all it is. And that is the limitation of thought. Okay, so some Asian guy who's trying to look all peaceful and he's telling me about this coin, but it's just a meme coin. But is it? If it's just a meme coin, it would have been like 99.9% of other meme coins. Would have pumped and it would have dumped. Yet somehow for almost 2.5 years now, it survived. And what's interesting to me is that SPX has a goal that is so far out there that you realize it's actually not about success. It's actually not about flipping the stock market. It's about collective community. It's about getting together in this age of so-called connectedness, but the individual feels so disconnected. I'm getting that buzz from the cigar. The goal of SPX is to flip the stock market. Literally trillions. And something that has recently kind of clicked for me is I see how rare it is for something like this in the environment that it's in to say something like, there is no chart. I'm not autistic, okay? Normal jabroni, normal guy with his own desires and pleasures, and literally we are the same. Nothing is fundamentally different. You may be taller, you may have more muscles, you may look better, whatever. We are reflections of each other. But in the environment that it's in, where everyone is looking to get off of the musical chairs, dancing till and then hoping to just get a little profit and just leave. How rare it is to say something like, there is no chart. We're not looking at the chart. We're gonna stick together no matter what. Persist forever. We're gonna believe in this. And of course, the limitation of these words only express just the shallowness of those words. But at a deeper level, forgive me for sounding a bit woo-woo, but you just have to feel it. And that's it. Should probably take a thumbnail. Alright, let's take a thumbnail. How should I do this? Maybe like that. Should be good. Or I'll pick something else, I don't know. Get a little water in. For some reason, I'm noticing the buzz way more today. If there was harmony, not in terms of duality or non-duality, but if there was genuine harmony in your life, I think there's no better time you can spend than to understand J. Krishnamurti, listen to what he's pointing at, and look at something like SPX and look at what it's pointing at. Because when you see something completely different, you just can't help but go, yo, you see this? It's not like I see a treasure and I don't want to tell anybody about it. It's not your treasure or my treasure. It's like, this is the byproduct of the environment. This is the byproduct of the time. And the signals are firing like crazy. And forgive me, but it's not reflected in the price today at 33 cents. But if you are a mechanic, if you know where to look and look under the hood, you see this is an insane car, an insane vehicle. And we are just waiting for the tide to rise, and everything will rise with it. But SPX will rise disproportionately to everything. And I just can't help but be like, yo, you see this? When I first discovered Krishnamurti, just being personal, because that's what the language limits me to, it wasn't like I'm gonna include this into music or it's like, it's just what I was doing. And in the same way, a year and a half ago, I'm like, okay, there's something here. I don't know what it is. And I started including it into things. I really think we're early to this. And I don't think I'm autistic. I'm a logical person. I see it for what it is. There's something different here, man. And again, I'm limited to being personal. So I'll share a story. A few days ago, a fairly wealthy guy, you call him a whale, he donated an NFT to me. And you could have this take and go, it's self-serving, it's beneficial, there's some return or whatever. But it's not ESP, extrasensory perception, it's intelligence that this is done with affection and care. Sort of like an older brother looking out for a younger brother. You're not going, what's in it for me? It's like, here, take it. And I just can't tell you in this video alone. I've seen things like that happen in so many incredible ways. So separate the coin from the people. It's the byproduct. Kind of like if you watch Tom and Jerry, there's too much water spewing, and he was like trying to hold, I don't know if it's exactly Tom and Jerry, but he's trying to hold all the water from spewing out. He just kept doing it. It was too much, and eventually the whole thing blew. And in the same way, SPX is showing signs of all these different things, from in real life meetups to conferences to people all around the world lighting up. They say Aeon online. Aeon is a description to describe the people in SPX. And the root meaning, of course, it means eternity, which I think is incredible as well. Because you have to understand the significance of these people that say this is forever, that say this long-term, not just mindset, not just this heady thing. It's like a real thing. It's an active thing. Only then can you survive what SPX has survived. The warmongering fears, the liquidations, all of the jargon, right? On a grand scheme of things, it's just gonna look like this. Straight line, boom. That's it. And so, what is it about that? Someone who sees, okay, I see what he's trying to do, and I'm gonna give him this thing. You just have to be in it. You just have to follow your nose. If you can sense this, I'm telling you, you gotta follow it through. It's not just a rabbit hole, just to be in the rabbit hole and intellectually, okay, I'm satisfied with this, there's something cool. But an actuality that, with the current state of the world, where you're not gonna get by just being in the wheel, just constantly running faster, you're not going anywhere. All you have to do is step aside and look into it. That's how I feel. Thought it had gone out. The buzz is strong with this one. So having had some insight into the desires personally, there's always this sense that I'm gonna do meditation so that I get this little peace, so I get this satisfaction, I get this fulfillment out of it. I'm gonna look into the so-called meme coins. I'm gonna look into the communities. I'm gonna look into the world that's bubbling, weird internet culture, because we are internet kids. But I hope to gain something from it. And then there's a rare group of people that say, how about we just stop trading? How about we stop gambling? How about no lewd? We don't do, not to just pleasure, not to just have sexual fantasies. How about we just persist forever? How about we do it for the love of doing it, for the love of the game? I'm telling you, man, there's something here. And I just can't put words to it and be like, this is exactly why. I just can't do it. But in the same way you discover something beautiful and you don't say, this is mine or his or hers, you just say, look, you see this too? After all, religion started out with a person who was enlightened, like a flower that bloomed and said, yo guys, look over here. You're suffering, you're going through all the turmoils of being a human. Something about this. Yet everyone just looked at the person himself, worshipped him, and said, you tell me what to do, instead of actually looking at the thing. And in the same way, I may be ranting, I may be just over-explaining or word salading this thing. But what is that? I don't know. I genuinely don't know. If you've made it this far, you care. Almost dropped. It's not a cigarette. And it seems really clear that the true act of meditation is seeing the reflex of thought. Because thought in and of itself breeds this idea of a me, idea of a person, a Tenzin, whatever the name is. I'm acting out this thing. And of course it's valid in the field that is necessary. Work, driving, things that you need to do. But when that movement goes psychologically inward and starts thinking, I need to do something about my pain. I need to do something about my suffering. And it never remain with the suffering. Never remain with the pain. It's kind of like thought is just material happening in the brain, like wood. And you're constantly chucking fire at the wood, saying, more wood will get rid of it. More wood, more things to do, more things I can act, more things I can effort. Eventually the fire will stop. When in fact, in the observation of how quickly you react and not seeing that reaction, that seeing alone does something. And in the same way, you don't try to put out a big fire. Start with the small ones. I feel like it's telling me to stop yapping. We're done with the cigarette, the cigar, and I really hope, not in the sense that I want you to do something, but that you see something in this too. After all, it's not just my life or your life. This is what's happening. Endless thinking, endless suffering, endless efforting to get somewhere. And unfortunately, clever people come in and they betray your trust because we are the lost generation, the neglected. But it's not specific to us, this is humanity. And so, I hope you see it. That's the video.